deployment of the planet's first robotic police units. Became the focus of the world in 2016.
Drop your weapons. You're under arrest.
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Alonso Duralde from The Wrap, Matt Ashley from Rotten Tomatoes, Christy Lemire from ChristyLemire.com and RogerEbert.com. I did not have to see Chappie, and apparently I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, Chappie is the story set slightly in the future about a company that has created a robotic police force, and they're under contract with the Johannesburg police force to use these robots as cops. They've dialed way back, and one of the developers, played by Dev Patel, has come up with a way of making some type of artificial intelligence, which he downloads into one of the robots that's set for demolition, also called Chappie, or ends up being called Chappie, and hilarity ensues. Let's watch the trailer.
I have a robot that is operated by a thinking human being.
We don't want this. It's expensive, it's big, and it's ugly.
The Scouts are a huge success. Stop worrying about these pet projects.
I think I've cracked it. This is a new kind of life form, a new step in evolution.
That's it. Come.
You are Chappie.
Chappie.
It's like a child. It has to learn.
What's that? Chappie's book?
Yeah, it's yours.
Chappie's got stories. Chappie's got a book.
Anything you want to do in your life, you can do. Write poetry, have original ideas.
Chappie wants to paint.
Wow. What in the name of the Lord?
Your little robot's a big problem for me.
A thinking robot could be the end of mankind. Destroy that robot. Burn it to ash. I don't want to die. I want to live.
If you want to survive, Chappie, you must fight.
Mayhem downtown as police have begun shutting down.
You hurt my people!
You think you're real?
You don't get away with this.
He's special!
I am consciousness. I am alive. I am Chappie.
This movie is really cool looking technically, right? Because Weta Digital did the effects. Chappie is very seamlessly integrated into everything that's going on, and I guess the way it worked was, because it's Charlton Copley who does the voice.
Yeah.
And I guess he
But the motion capture also.
Yes,
right?
and
Okay.
so it feels believable in his movements, going from a scared little kid hiding in the corner to the swagger of a gangster that he gets because of who was raising him. Right. That all feels believable, and I wish that it were in the service of a better, more thoughtful story.
Yeah, I found this really frustrating because at its core, there's this story about kind of artificial intelligence and, you know, the difference between a mechanized soul versus a human soul, and it's kind of consistent with what Blomkamp has been exploring in his movies. It's definitely in the same wheelhouse as District 9, definitely in the same wheelhouse as Elysium. Unfortunately, it's closer to Elysium than I think, you know, than District 9 was.
He's getting farther and farther away from that great nugget.
Yeah, and this movie, like, he's kind of thrown too much in there. Like, the Adford bits in here are really kind of distracting, and I don't know that it really serves to move the story forward. It almost gets too gimmicky with them.
With the gangsters who raised Chappie, Ninja and Yolandi.
Yeah, who are part of this band, this South African hip hop techno band called Die Advert. And you know, say what you will about them, they have a very unique look and a very unique music style. I don't know that it really adds anything to the movie because it gets distracting. It's a little bit, you know, and it's a weird grounding that they're essentially playing themselves, which comes off a little weird as well.
And they become Chappie's like de facto parents.
Right.
And I always wondered, are we supposed to think that they're ridiculous? I mean, because there's a great swagger and a great like lack of self-awareness about Ninja's character. He thinks he's this badass, but he keeps screwing things up or whatever. And yet we're also meant to feel like Yolandi's got a good heart and a true maternal instinct. And so yet, there's conflict as far as how we're supposed to react to these people.
And then Ninja really is dangerous. Like he actually is, as much as he's kind of a buffoon, he's packing heat,
He's a
and he's a
dangerous
really good
buffoon.
shot, and he's very dangerous. And the guys that they're working for, that he owes the money to, are extremely dangerous. You know, this is a very dangerous version of Johannesburg. But it's interesting because I guess what's frustrating about this movie for me is that it seems relatively light, and for the most part, yes, it's kind of got this lighthearted look at this character of Chappie trying to decide who he's going to be. And then towards the end of the film, in the climax of the film, it pivots into this really darkly violent story that I think the rest of the movie tonally wasn't addressing. And we have to talk about Hugh Jackman's character.
We've talked about Hugh
who
Jackman's
I feel
mullet,
like,
first of all.
well, he comes in from a different movie. Like, I don't believe that character is as caricaturish as D'Antwoord is. Hugh Jackman's character is arguably not even human. Like he's almost a cartoon character. Yeah. He does things that, you know, he works at this big corporation, and you're supposed to believe that this ex-military guy is as talented a software developer as Dev Patel's character, but he's packing a gun as he walks around the office.
And a cross around his neck.
And a cross around his neck.
He talks about going to church all the time.
It's right. I mean, it's almost like Crocodile Dundee as a tech developer, which would be fine, but he's so over the top, and it's so, you know, whereas I felt Patel's character is relatively grounded, and he's less grounded than Ninja and Yolandi, which is a problem. That's
Who Hugh Jackman is?
Yeah.
Well, they're all cartoonish in different ways.
Right, but I guess I just, like, and Jackman kind of sells the character, but it took me out of the movie. The things that he does in this movie, you know, when he threatens Dev Patel's character.
Early on.
With the gun, in the middle of the office,
right.
And nobody reacts, right? And they never sell that anyone would actually keep that character. Also, I have to point out, for a company that is doing security and is making, for a military tech company, that company has the worst security in the world.
Yes, and they make a big deal at the beginning of the film about it's really, really high tech, how you can get a hold of the guard key. Only someone can do this who has this access or whatever. But really, it's pretty poor.
It's like any idiot could walk in and start just messing around. I mean, it is the worst security ever. The security's as bad as a shopping mall. I mean, it's terrible.
But also, you know, they're trying to get so many ideas here, none of which is terribly novel, right? We were walking out talking about all the different movies that this is. It's RoboCop meets Short Circuit meets Transcendence.
Yeah.
And there are so many movies that were groundbreaking and had novel ideas about the dangers of technology and the squishy relationship between man and machine and how complicated that is. And this just says nothing new. It says it was some cool technology, but like afterward, did we learn anything? Were we challenged at all? No.
And there's a really frustrating moment where in the second half of the movie, it starts to tilt towards what is consciousness. And what does that mean? And it does a couple of different versions of that. But that's the movie I want to see. I want to see the movie that addresses what is consciousness in a computer versus a person and copies. And that's what I wanted to see. And the movie only kind of does that to move the plot forward. And it's really frustrating because I thought that would have been the much more interesting story to tell. Yeah. And this one kind of wants to do that in the context of having to be an action movie. Now maybe that's what Blomkamp has to do to get these stories told.
Make it a big action movie that's super violent.
It's kind of too much. Yeah.
It's very frustrating, and the thing we ended up walking out talking about was with Hugh Jackman's mullet.
Yes.
Which I don't think is what they intended.
You left humming the mullets.
Right.
So disappointing, frustrating. Your number is what?
5.5. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm saying 4.7, so our average is a 5.1.
Right. It's 48% on the tomato meter right now.
So don't see anything this week, basically. Just take our word.
Stay home and watch TV.
Bye.